Last Memorial Day, we had the 100-year flood. My wife, Nancy, and I drove over the river and went down to Roseburg, Texas to B.F. Terry High School. There was a recovery center giving out goods to people in need. It was started by what's called the Church, Second Mile Ministry, and the Mark Consolidated Independent School District.
In June of 2016, Cliff Parker called and asked me if I would be willing to attend a few meetings with community leaders who were looking for a way to help flood survivor families. And I paused for a moment, said a prayer, and then I responded, yes, we will. And at that time, I really didn't know what I was saying yes to. But you know, imagine tomorrow someone says, please relocate your operations 18 miles away from your home base. And by the way, you're going to be setting up in a high school cafeteria and function there for 6-7 weeks. You can imagine the challenges were great. So in that room, I said, we'll do what we can do as Second Mile, and we'll do it in the name of Jesus.
In that room, I also remember Sarah saying, hey, listen, we can do it. We've got the processes. See, we had the equipment, we had the people, we didn't have the know-how, we didn't have the processes, we didn't have the years of experience. And so that's what made this such a wonderful partnership. My experience with Second Mile throughout the entire process was first class. You know, from all of the staff to Sarah, from early morning till late at night, it was more than a strategic partnership. Really what was birthed was a friendship.
So the floods of 2016 were extremely devastating for a lot of people. The community response was amazing. Many nonprofit organizations, county departments came together, and what I can say is that Fort Bend County is an awesome county, and we're always there to help and support each other during very difficult times. Well, Second Mile provided exemplary leadership to our community. They were at the forefront of providing services. They were at the forefront of saying, we're going to do this, and we want to work with everybody to do this, and that's exactly what they did.
May 2016 was a really challenging month for us. Out here in Simonton, the Brazos River flooded our entire neighborhood, and in our home in particular was over 30 inches. That water sat in our neighborhood for 9 days before we could get back in. Everything that was in the house was lost. We were actually expecting our second daughter, Nova at the time, and she was born 2 weeks after the flood, so she's never known this as her home. But right behind us is where our house stood.
Second Mile showed up in the midst of all the chaos here in our little town, and they initially helped us with some gas cards and some gift cards for groceries. But then they came back again later when everything kind of calmed down, and they offered to help pay for some bills, and it was needed.
You know, we're real thankful for organizations like Second Mile who came in and really helped our family in a time of need. You know, if I could say thank you to the folks that support Second Mile. You have helped my family in ways that you may not realize, but for us, it means the world.
It was big. Thank you.
En la traila donde se inundó, fueron 15 años que vivimos ahí. Muchos recuerdos, todas las niñas de mis hijos. Era un lugar muy tranquilo, más emocionalmente que todo. Me dijeron que fuera a la escuela Terry. Al entrar, no recuerdo el nombre de la señora, es una señora americana, habla español. Me dijo que necesitaba, y le dije que necesitaba hospedaje porque no tenía un lugar donde dormir con mis hijos. Y ella me dijo que era de Second Mile y nos ayudó con una semana más que nos pagó el hotel a mí y a mis hijos. Mis hijos encantados porque ese hotel tenía piscina. Gracias a su generosidad mucha gente como yo estamos agradecidos y no hay forma para pagar lo que hacen cuando la gente lo necesita. Solo decir que gracias por su generosidad, por su buen corazón, por ayudar y que pues Dios los siga bendiciendo.
The Second Mile began their ministry while the rain is still coming down and the floods are rising throughout so many people's homes. The Second Mile was there bringing the community together to figure out how are we going to handle the logistics of getting donations together and coordinating volunteer efforts, and how can we put churches and local government agencies together in a way that best serves so many people who are now homeless effectively.
The floods of Memorial Day last year and Tax Day last year, we had 2 floods back to back, but the Memorial Day flood was a more significant event. As a matter of fact, we had a record elevation at the Richmond Gauge right outside this building on the river here in Richmond. It went to 54.6 feet, well above anything we'd recorded in modern times. We had over 50,000 residents impacted. Water inundated 17% of the entire county. We had to do almost 800 evacuations, almost 1,300 homes total as a result of that big flood. It was a disaster in Fort Bend County. We're all part of one big community, but you never know how good your neighbors are until you need them. And Second Mile came through after the Memorial Day flood with great service. They worked out there on a daily basis from June 6th into mid-July, and they continue to work with us to this day as part of our long-term recovery team. Second Mile is a great neighbor. When we needed them most, they were there, and they haven't quit working yet. I'm proud to have them in Fort Bend County.
During the floods last year, a tree came through our living room. And then when it happened again a month later, the entire house was flooded.
And there was half a foot of water when I was playing, and when the water came in our house, all the furniture got swept away and destroyed.
Honestly, without Second Mile, we would have been lost. Without them, it would not have been possible, and so I just can't say thank you enough to them, to Second Mile, for helping us. It was, like I said, without them, it wouldn't have been possible. Things really started to turn around because of Second Mile.
And they helped us with everything. So thank you, Second Mile. And I love you, Papa.
Second Mile partnered with the church here in Rosenberg to set up a disaster recovery center. Within days of the flood, we began receiving donations and getting those much-needed items to flood survivors. Fort Bend had experienced its worst flood in 100 years. The need was great, but the response from the community and local nonprofits was even greater.
This was a devastating event for hundreds of families, but through it all, you could really see the character of the community. And through this, it deepened our relationships with other nonprofits as we worked side by side with one common goal.
Second Mile's expertise in handling devastating events like they did with Katrina helped a community in need.
The B.F. Terry became a MARC, a multi-agency resource center, where lots of different agencies, local agencies and international and national agencies came. What was great is we had many, many, many partners who came alongside us. One of those, Pastor Jim Kiles of the church, who has a heart for the Rosenberg community, and he couldn't just sit still. He had to help. One, for example, was Parkway United Methodist Church that went to homes all over the area and did gutting out and cleanup. Another church that comes to mind as a standout during the flood recovery efforts is Sugar Creek Baptist Church. That's a church that has a special place in the heart of Second Mile, historically and to this day. So all of that came together, along with all the efforts of all the agencies and organizations and churches, to do something we haven't seen in a whole lot of years in Fort Bend County. And hopefully in the future, we'll be even better at it when the next crisis comes.